Welcome, good folks. Fuck a title show. Before we get into the podcast, make sure you hit up patreon.com/Church of Juvie. $2 a month, you get a personalized thank you on all platforms. $5 a month, you get exclusive content and early access to music, short films, and more. Patreon.com/Church of Juvie. Go.
Hey baby, wake up from your asleep. We have arrived onto the future and the whole world is become electronic, supersonic, electronic.
Supersonic, electronic, supersonic. What's going on, folks? Fuck a title show. I am your host, as always. Unless it's your first time, then I promise to be gentle and not put you in any uncomfortable situations. JuvyThaKid. You know what? Okay, so we're gonna get to the first thing. Skip 2. This time, if you don't give a fuck about UFC or mixed martial arts, because that's what we're gonna talk about first. Get that out of the way. UFC 214 was last night. Okay, so I usually, I catch the prelims and everything, and the prelims were good fights. So, from beginning to end, well, except for Tyron Woodley and Damian Maia, but I kind of had a feeling that would be like the sleeper fight of the event. I don't know. It also just depends on like the game plans, I guess. I don't know. People say like Mayweather's like super boring, and then others say that he's an absolute genius and what I don't know. It all just depends on how you look at it. I was saying like I could see that being the if you're gonna grab some chips or go for a smoke, that'd probably be the fight. But either way, other than that, it was fucking great. Robbie Lawler and Donald Cerrone, that lived up to the hype for me. That was one of those fights where regardless of who won, I probably would have been happy with it, unless it was a weird decision, which I guess it kind of was. Some people feel Cowboy Cerrone won. I give rounds 1 and 3 to Lawler. I think he did round 1 for sure. Round 3, I just feel like he was pushing forward more. He did more. So yeah, I gave it to Lawler. He landed the bigger shots as well. He had the bigger moments. While technically, I think it was one of those things Cerrone might have outpointed him if you look at fights like that, but it all depends on the judge. So that lived up to the hype for me. Now, you know what? Hold on. Let me pull the card up because I don't want to skip any fights here. Because this was, like I said, it was a good fucking fight. Okay. UFC. Okay. Oh, Ricardo Lamas and Jason Knight. That was a great fight. Good job. Jimmy Manuwa, Volkan Ozdemir. They started it off. Any folks that don't know who Volkan Ozdemir is, you do now. Guarantee that. Knocked him out in 22, 23 seconds. And Jimmy Manuwa is one of those guys, he touches you. He has that knockout power. But Volkan got it done. Quick time. So he's definitely a rising star in the light heavyweight division for sure. Robbie Lawler, Donald Cerrone, I talked about. Chris Cyborg versus Tanya Evinger. I'm not gonna lie, got a little emotional during this because I've been a fan of Cyborg for a really long time now. And just seeing a lot of the stuff that happened with her in the UFC, some of the things that even Dana White would say about her publicly and stuff, it's just, I don't know, to see her finally get her title shot in her weight class and become the champion, it was fucking amazing. Tanya Evinger, I know people are like, oh, she's so tough. Okay, if you're in the UFC fighting with the top level fighters, male or female, you should be tough at this point. You should be able to go in there and take a beating while give a beating if needed. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Yes, for the people who may not have been familiar with Tanya Evinger, it's kind of one of those things where oh, she did well, she hung in there. I get it, that's cool. Cyborg also didn't rush in. She played a very patient game. She played a very smart game. Finished it off in the third round. I'm not saying that Tanya Evinger isn't tough or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. It's just when like people are always focusing on with certain things, it's like, yeah, at this level, you should be. I don't know. Either way, seeing Cyborg finally become that champ in the UFC, because she's been a champ in like every other fucking company she's fought in. Yeah. Really, really awesome to see. Not going to lie. Daniel Cormier versus John Jones. The rematch. The return of John Jones. I actually had... I was giving this fight to John Jones anyway. Like, my prediction for it was John Jones by 4th round TKO. But he got it done with a KO in the 3rd round. And hey, let's be honest. Like, Daniel Cormier, like, he came out to fight. Like, right away, they engaged each other. Daniel Cormier didn't waste any time. It lived up to the hype. I give the 1st round to John, 2nd round DC, 3rd round John lands that fucking head kick that wobbles Daniel Cormier, just cracks him upside the head and puts him on Queer Street. Are we still allowed to say that? I don't know. That's been like a combat, like that's been a term in boxing forever, and like even in combat sports. Or I feel like we're still allowed to say that in this context. I don't know. I'm gonna go with it. Either way, Daniel Cormier gets rocked, and keep in mind, Daniel Cormier has he's been like tagged, but I think this might have been like the hardest he's ever been rocked in his career. That skipped off the side of his head, and it wasn't even actually a skip. Like if you watch it even in slow motion, John Jones brings it up, snaps, like he brings the knee up, then snaps his leg forward right into Daniel Cormier's like side of his head, and then brings it back down. And then that's Daniel Cormier gets wobbled, and John Jones just basically goes in. Ends up hitting him in the body with that, like a kind of jumping kick, and like he ended up going on the ground. He finished it off with elbows and punches. Put Cormier out unconscious. And that's again, people are gonna making fun of DC because he was crying and he was very emotional or whatever, but think about it like this. When there's a power of belief, when you're like, I know I can do this, like nobody can tell me different. I know in my heart of hearts I can fucking do this. That's how Cormier felt about the first fight with John Jones, because he convinced himself that John Jones only won that fight because he was on steroids, because he was using other banned substances or whatever. Although USADA never caught any of that, or he never tested positive, whatever. I don't remember the exact timeline for when USADA entered. But either way, he didn't test positive or anything for it. But Cormier was convinced, like, the only reason you beat me the first time was because you were on steroids. So for this one, when John Jones comes in and he knocks him out, now the only 2 losses on Daniel Cormier's record are to the same man, to John Jones, his rival in a way in this MMA career of his. And there's no debating about this one. Like, I don't know. It's a rough thing. You know what I mean? Like, especially when that reality check comes in the form of getting knocked out in front of, millions of people, obviously combining the folks watching live in the arena and then all around at home and stuff. So yeah, it's just, it was a rough one for Daniel Cormier. I understand why he was that emotional. So I don't know. It's good. I think John Jones, the argument for greatest light heavyweight ever, maybe mixed martial artist ever, is, I think that conversation is done. Like, he has it. Before he was 30, He beat Mauricio Shogun Rua, Quentin Rampage Jackson, Lyoto Machida, Rashad Evans, Glover Teixeira, Alexander Gustafsson, Daniel Cormier twice. Well, no, because I think he's 30 now. So either way, but like by the time he's 30, he has beat like the who's who of the light heavyweight division, some of absolute legends of the sport, the up and coming killers of the sport. He takes it. The only loss on his record is a disqualification for throwing downward elbows, which tons of people in the MMA community don't agree with that rule. So if you think really, Jon Jones is undefeated against the who's who in the sport. That's fucking nuts, folks. This man was 23, goes against Shogun Rua, and fucking opens with a flying knee? What? Yeah, Jon Jones, he's, I don't know. And I'm not even going to talk about the Brock Lesnar call-out because that's just dumb. But, fuck, man. Good job, Jon. That was a great fight. I don't know. That UFC 214 lived up to the fucking hype for me. If you didn't enjoy it, well, you're a hater. Take 2 baths. All right, everyone else, welcome back. Now, where are we? Okay. I started watching this show on Netflix, and it might be one of the funniest shows I've ever watched, honestly. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Holy shit, this show is so, like, I could watch this by myself, and I'm laughing out loud like an idiot. Like, her roommate, Titus Andromedon, I love him. Love him so much. Okay, so Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, this girl is basically, like, kidnapped in a bunker for, like, 15 years. And she, like, they all thought, like, the apocalypse happened. Like, her and the 3 other girls that were there. And they're rescued by the SWAT team and everything. And she decides she's going to start her life over in New York City. Her roommate is very theatrical gay man. And she's still, like, she makes, like, 90s references and, like, it's, I don't know. I think it's really awesome. I think it's really well done. It's probably one of the funniest shows I've ever watched. I don't know. Unbreakable. Kimmy Schmidt. Go watch that, folks, if you need a giggle or two in your life. Yeah. That's all I had to say. I like coming across that stuff and sharing it with you folks. Okay. Today's Sunday. Game of Thrones is tonight, and I think it's very interesting because tonight's episode is called The Queen's Justice. At first, when I read this, I was like, oh shit, something's going to happen with Cersei. But in a way, Cersei already got her justice. Like, she wanted to, get revenge or whatever for the wrong she felt done to her. And she fucking, blew up the fucking Light of the Seven. It's just, so could the Queen's Justice be talking about Daenerys? Because I'm pretty sure this is the episode we see that quick clip of the preview. The Unsullied are, like, rushing in somewhere. Very, very interesting. So it's which queen is going to get justice? Oh, another thing. In the intro, the Baratheon stag, like the Baratheon house sigil, is still over top of King's Landing. And I think that that's actually due to a lot, maybe like, because like, okay, so Cersei was married to Robert Baratheon. When he died, like, Cersei, like, through all the, like, deaths and everything else, she's technically just, like, the widow that's, like, running it, is how people are looking at it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not actually King's Landing isn't actually a Lannister kingdom, so to speak. A lot of people still identify it as a Baratheon house. So it'll be interesting. I don't know. Also, I want to talk about some Walking Dead stuff. I was watching the season 8 trailer again. Excuse me. One thing that I figured out, I guess, like, only the first half of the season has been filmed. So all that trailer footage is from like the first half. So I think we're going to end up, I don't know. I think we're going to end up, because they said this season's going to be more fast paced, more action. I don't know. I think we're going to see Old Man Rick probably by like halfway in the season. I don't know. Because in the comics, like it jumps ahead like 2 years. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see how they do it in the show, especially with this whole trailer kind of revealing Old Man Rick and everything. Oh, also, in that shipping container, the one that actually, if you pay attention, you see somebody in the shipping container, and that is Rick. So Rick is in the shipping container, and that shipping container is also in the scavenger's junkyard. So that's not good. Because Rick is basically hands tied. He's chilling in his underwear. I don't know. Like I said, I think we're going to see Rick lose his hand, and he's going to get his leg fucked. We already know his leg gets fucked up. That's part of the Old Man Rick story. And we see his cane, like in the trailer. But I don't know. Maybe that's the scene. That's the beginning of it, like, or has a part to do with it. I don't know. Very, very interesting. Oh, also another interesting shot. The shot of Carl when he's like looking in the car window. Carl, when he's looking in the car window. That's an amazing parallel shot because season 1, I believe, in the very first episode, Rick has that same scene. And it's awesome because Carl's wearing Rick's hat. They both come into the window the exact same. The walker, I believe, is even leaned in the seat the same. It was just very, very cool parallel shot. And honestly, like, it's cool. I love seeing when The Walking Dead does stuff like that. So, I don't know. I'm very excited for season 8. Who's going to die first? I think Gabriel's going to die. I think he'll be the first. Him or Rosita. Anybody who has read the comics or anything, you might know where a couple of characters might end up, but I don't want to spoil that for the folks that don't read the comics. But I can tell you now that if they bring in a certain group from the comics, it's going to be so good. And honestly, I think it would make it would bring the show to like a next level. But I don't know. We'll see. I have a feeling that instead of getting that group I'm thinking of, we got the Scavengers. Which, if that was the fucking trade-off, oh man, that sucks. I don't know. October 22nd. All the speculation ends. Well, at least for one episode. Yeah. All right, I'm getting the fuck out of here. What's going on for this week? I'm supposed to be meeting... hit my Superman. I'm supposed to be meeting at some point with Naughty Beats because we have some things to discuss, some things to brainstorm. I don't want to give it all away because I'm very excited about it, to be honest. And if it all goes well, which I'm positive it will, I'm excited to be like working on a project from like scratch with Naughty Beats. So yeah, it'll be exciting, folks. All that, hopefully I'll get it dealt with this week, and maybe I'll make an announcement regarding that. And yeah, other than that, I don't know what's going on. We'll see it. We'll see what the week holds for us day by day. Okay. This has been Fuck a Title Show. I've been your host, JuvyThaKid. Hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at JuvyThaKid. Patreon.com/Church of Juvie. subscribe, all that good stuff. Please, there's also a poll up there. I want you folks to go up there, patreon.com/churchofjuvie. Said it again. There's a poll. Go let me know. What do you want next? A new short film or new music? I need to know, good folks. I want your input. So go do that for me. Yeah. I'm going to get on out of here. Mwah, mwah, mwah for you beautiful fat J's. Mucho love, you hooligan squad.